This is Rebecca. Who's taking these off? I don't see any stats on these things. Marco, we've got stats on these things? This is Rebecca, blood work panel. My name is Rebecca. Excuse me. I have just been diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. So basically, RA is just systemic acidosis, head to toe. You see that a lot, and I've brought this up a lot because I've dealt a lot with bodybuilders. So you see that a lot in bodybuilding because of the high protein consumption. You know, you want an arthritis of any type, just consume high proteins. Get your kidneys to not filter, and you're on your road, you know. So you either got lipids or you got calcifications, basically. But I also think I have other things going on as well. According to my blood work, I have attached my blood work results written down by me on paper because I can't screenshot the results. This sounds like a sweet person, Rebecca. Could you please explain the abnormal results and what all of it could mean and how bad all this is? I'm ready to fix it and want to fix it naturally. Okay, so first of all, if the blood work, let's just take liver enzymes for example. If you had elevated liver enzymes, it doesn't mean the liver is a fatty liver, it doesn't mean you have cirrhosis, it doesn't mean you have tumors and cancer of the liver, but what it does mean is you have a stagnant lymph in the walls of the liver and it is starting to break down liver tissue. And that's what you see. You see elevated liver enzymes and alkaline phosphatase. Although alkaline phosphatase can also be bones. Okay. That's cute. Okay, so TSH is 1.7. You're borderline right there, in my opinion. You're borderline there with the TSH. That's thyroid stimulating hormone. That basically turns the thyroid on or off. So do your basal temperatures under your arm. If you're a little low, that would explain that. Now, as much as you can see in a blood work, you can see 1,000 times more with an iris analysis. So get me a picture of your eye and you can see a lot more what's going on. You can see your tissues. You can see your fluids. I mean, lipid panel, Well, I mean, pretty much in the variants. Comprehensive metabolism, sodium, potassium. So your CO2 is 23, okay? So for us, CO2 is what? Carbon dioxide, right? So that's an acid, right? But that's not what they mean. Some medical doctor told me that's not what they mean. They mean bicarbonate. Okay, but they wrote CO2. Anyway, this is your proteins, and you take a look, you're at 23, and I don't like that. That's too much. I think you're having way too much protein, and you're not getting good oxygenation going. Glucose 82. So that's normal. If this was a fasting blood sugar, okay, that's pretty good. But if I had a tendency to go which way you're going to go, I'm going to say low. I mean, I'm just saying, your bun's 14, okay? That's your urea nitrogens. That's your protein consumption. You're 14, you want to be 5. You're consuming too much protein. Creatinine is 0.8. So what that means is you're only a short distance to 1. Now, old lab norms for creatinine was 0.5 to 0.99. Let me tell you, by the time you hit 0.99, you're in deep doo-doo. It's just insanity, some of these stats on this blood work. But you want your bun 5 or below, and let them tag it. Who cares? The creatinine, you want 0.5 or below, and you're 0.8, showing me that you've got kidney problems. Well, no kidding. You've got RA. So we're going to use that name RA, right? Rheumatoid arthritis. Right? That's not a disease. You didn't catch this, you created it. Now you have to uncreate it. Notice everybody that's trying to treat what they created is not successful? Yeah, because you have to uncreate what you created, and there's only two sides of chemistry to play with. If you can find anything else out there, holler and let us all know. But again, get off of those proteins. And again, you got to work on your kidneys, get them filtering. You know what we talk about with filtration, right? Get those kidneys filtering. Update. That tumor, it looked like it came out of the urine. It didn't. It came out of the stool. I didn't think you could pass something like that. But did you see the urine? Oh, geez. Calcium, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so let's take calcium for a minute. Let's just say you're within normal ranges, but geez, I got ridged fingernails. My skin's a little droopy. You know, I think I got some prolapsing of the bowels. My breasts are sagging. I'm a little unhappy, a little depressed. What do you think? But my calcium shows within normal ranges. What would you think? Yeah, the utilization of something is a lot different than what the blood shows, because you utilize these things. And utilization of calcium comes from where? Parathyroid glands. But you can go to your adrenals for all this other platelet. You're 416,000. That's real good. Red blood cells, real good. Okay, so here's where your question is. White blood cells. Okay, so she's got an 8.93. She's almost at 9 on her white blood cells, WBCs. Yeah, though. Yeah, and you kind of look at those with the platelets. And I'm looking at the platelets, and I just, platelets, generally 250. A lot of people look to not have low ones because that's how you clot. The lower the platelets, the less ability you have to clot. So you can bleed out when you're down around 15,000 or something like that, right? But to me, your white blood cell count is a little too high. That means your body is fighting. Your lymphatic system is fighting. Now, they can blame spleen, and then they say, oh, you might be headed toward some type of cancer or something like that, But it's just telling you that your body's fighting acidosis. You've got diagnosed with what they call RA. That's just simply systemic acidosis, which means systemic coagulation of the lymphatic system. So you really want to look at your eyes. You want to see how bad or how good my kidneys are. Where's my adrenals doing? Do I have nerve rings? What's my bowel? Do I have a pituitary? Because I can't kick up the parathyroid and get calcium utilization going with the pituitary down, or the adrenals or anything else. So you really want to look at that. I don't really look at monocytes, eosinophils, basophils, and things like that because, there's all your immune panels. And that's blood work. All right? Most of your immunity is not in the blood. Hemoglobin, hematocrit. So that's all I see, to tell you the honest truth. There's not anything there and it wouldn't matter because, let's see, ALT is 14, AST is 18, alkaline phosphatase is 67. That's liver, and of course alkaline phosphatase is bone and kidney and liver. Your ALT and AST is your liver enzymes, and they're great. Like I say, the only thing that I see here, T3, free T4. Yeah, the only thing I really see here is, let's take a think about the pituitary, but for sure we're looking at systemic inflammation and your body fighting it. Now, whether you have a little spleen going on, you can't tell with that. There's only one place to tell that, the iris analysis. So that's all I see, Rebecca. But RA, you're going to get your butt out of this. That's systemic. There's nothing. That's not kind of fun to have that pain everywhere, and then I had a guy once. I think he was 26. I think he had 26-inch arms. Anyway, he made some magazines and stuff. He came in. He was a retired bodybuilder, and he was a boat captain. But he had to use this arm, and his wrists and elbows were so big. He could never do the all raw thing. I might have got him to do it for several months, but got a lot of it out of him, swellings way down, almost gone, stuff like that. But couldn't make the break to do it and go deep into that. You want to do that, or you'll carry this acid all your life. The problem is, life is kinetic. Nothing just sits there and does nothing. The only thing that sits there and basically does nothing is consciousness, because there's nowhere for it to go. Right? Right. I heard there's another song out, 1111. I don't know, I heard that, heard it, you know. I always look at that 1111, you know, and you see as individuals, but we're still one. You know, it's pretty cool. Any of you ever see Jonathan Livingston Seagull? That's an old movie, you know, and I heard people when I went into it and watched it, I saw it about 10 times. Well, you're going to laugh at me. I saw Jesus Christ Superstar 32 times. I was living in the woods. I come out, and I was really I was a Jesus freak at that time. You know, I was heavy into not Christianity, not the religion they created. Man, Jesus, it's difficult. It's kind of like what was it to Thomas Jefferson. After they signed the Constitution, they said, now you're free. You have a republic now, if you can keep it. And that's exactly, look at the last administration want to get rid of the republic. I mean, this is exactly what's going on with the world order. Look at George Soros decorated. This guy's a bad dude, guys. Bad dude. Doesn't like humans. So that means he's infested with something. I won't go there. But I've got an appointment here at, well, I've got about 45 minutes, half hour maybe. But anyway, Jonathan Livingston Seagull, it really shows you, and whoever wrote that movie was really, really advanced in their awareness, because what it shows you is that generally animals, including the human form, are herd animals. And that as one develops spiritually, they lift their head up out of the herd and look around. And in Jonathan Livingston Seagull, of course, you have to kind of feel what the alone means to appreciate Jonathan Livingston Seagull. If you haven't felt that alone state in your world yet, try to get it. Not loneliness. If you have loneliness, you've not connected to you or it. But if you are into the alone state, where things are all, that's the state where all things in creation come together as one. And an extreme state of oneness is an extreme state of aloneness. It is kind of hard to tell. We talked about it one time, some of the senior citizens down here, the husbands generally die first, and then the wife is left alone. A lot of them don't date around too much, and so they get into this aloneness, and they start to like it. So it's hard to describe that state. You have to go. That's why I went into the woods. I needed that. I felt it all my life growing up. What is this state? And deep within that. And then Twitchell came out with a book, and one of the chapters was That Alone Exists. Whoa! Powerful stuff. And I was using the concept of looking through binoculars. You know, you've got the binoculars of the physical body, which is really reduced down. Then you got the binoculars of the astral body, which is bigger. And then you got the binoculars of the mind, which seems unlimited at one level. So that alone state where that seagull, everybody else is fighting for food and all that. And he says, well, wait a minute, we can fly high, we can fly fast, we can do all kinds of things. So they kicked him out of the herd, and then off he went on a journey to discover life.